Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is Karen Neumann. This is the Saturday Human Colony Hucolo webinar. It's Saturday, the 23rd of July, 2022. And we're just, I'm going to get it. I got it. Young. No, I didn't get it. I always try to get the YouTube before it sounds out. So I got it. So anyway, I just want to welcome everyone here today. I'm going to be channeling. We're going to be doing a little bit of an abbreviated, see it, I didn't get it. We're going to do a little abbreviated class or the abbreviated webinar because the teacher training for Galactic Reiki is starting at, what did I say? What, Angie? What?
It's a galactic energy healing because this is healing from off world, not Reiki, galactic energy healing. There is a difference.
What she said, there's going to be a teacher training for that, the galactic energy healing.
Yes.
And that starts at 1:30. So we're going to zip out of here at 12:30 so that they can have the room. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so I'm going to be channeling Theos today. And just let's welcome everyone that's here. We've got Angie, Susan, Ryan, Celeste, Taliwa, yay, Wendy, and myself. And we'll start off with some blessings. And then is there still time for someone to sign up for this class?
Yes, there is still time to sign up for the class. It's a Galactic Energy Healing teacher class. You must have taken the student class in order to participate in the class. It's 1:30 to 6:30 today, Eastern Standard Time. Jim is channeling the class. I believe he's going to be channeling to Kerr for this. And 1:30 to 6:30, $150. And if you're still interested, I can send the link to you if you're interested. Classes at hucolo.org.
What she said. Perfect. Classes at hucolo.org. Okay, who wants to do a blessing?
I'll do one today.
Pointing it's Susan.
I can do one too.
Susan, Angie.
I'll do it.
I typed it in the chat, but yes, I'm open to one as well.
Okay, well, we'll do that. Anyone else want to do? Okay, so we'll go in the order of how I see you on my screen, and then I don't see Wendy, but I know she's there. So we'll go Angie, Susan, and then Wendy. Yeah.
Okay. Tuhura takari ina shuku apatiki mihratuku ashana ayataka ama uti ina nashi eaka a nohura asaniyata kochichi mianiataka a so sonorokuara. Blessings.
Interesting. That's different than what you usually say.
Yeah, beautiful. Theos o ko te ahiti ke iaru sia kota toia ia sikitia to kotia I sikutoia I te kia toia ia he sikia ho ia hea hita ko he I te kia o tia I sikoto toia ia sikitia.
Okay. And Susan, I mean Wendy, sorry.
Yes. Asking everybody to be grounded. Connecting from your roots down deep into Mother Gaia, bringing in beautiful white and golden light through the crown of your head. Let it rinse through your entire body. Do that now.
Nice. Well, I was sitting here, I just got the impulse that I want to start with a little meditation, but also sing a little bit. So just give me a second. I just have to tune this isn't even my ukulele. This is my nephew's plastic ukulele, but I will play this instead. You guys can stay on, we can stay on Everyone turn off their camera. You can turn them back on for a few minutes so I can see your pretty faces. Por favor. Susan, I want to make you a co-host here. Okay. I mean, you don't have to be on camera, but it's nice. I could see, if I can see y'all. Okay. See, I'm getting my Southern back. Oh, Lord. Okay. Just see here. I felt, I will tell you, living on the beach is so nice. And the one thing that's really beautiful is in the morning, because I walk every day at like 6 a.m. So I get to see the sunrise every day. And it's so grounding to walk barefoot, just in hearing the ocean and being able to walk into the water and then gather up some water and, just set an intention and let it flow. And then also just giving constantly everything every day to the water, just allowing it to flow. And so there's just it's just such a nice, thing that I'm really in appreciation of that. And generally, I go and say hi to the ocean every day, basically. Can you hear that? Okay, so just, you can sit with your eyes closed if you want, or you can look at me, it's no problem, whatever you want to do. I'm gonna push this away so I can strum and sit at the same time. Just take a deep breath, just close your eyes and just allow your face and your neck and your shoulders to relax, but sit up rather straight so that your channel is open and clear. Just take a deep breath in through your nose, just in your own timing. Just hold it for just a little second. Just let it come out through your mouth, blowing it out, not hard, but just kind of, let's do that 3 times. So breathing in. Breathing in again. You had to have let it out in the meantime. Just breathing in. Breathing out. One more time, breathing in. Breathing out. Now, when you breathe in, we're going to allow the sound of Om to come out, just to sort of come out of our mouth, not forcing, but again, just opening our mouths and just allowing the sound to come out, just for the length of your breath, just very gently in your own tone. It doesn't have to match mine. It can be higher or lower or dissonant. It doesn't matter, but it's the perfect tone for you at this moment in this time. So take a deep breath in. Another breath in with Om. With a big smile on your face, with joy coming from your heart chakra, love coming in. Take a deep breath in. Exhale with Om. Om. You can sing this with me. It's very simple. You'll get it as soon as I do it a few times. But the words are Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Namah Shivaya. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Namah Shivaya. And then you'll catch it. It's very simple. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Namah Shivaya. 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 Shivaya, 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 Shivaya. That's the whole song. Ready? Smiling. Om Namah Shivaya is talking about the 5 elements. And that's who we are. You're saying Om Nama, I bow to that which is who I am, all that I'm made up of. Fire, earth, wind, water, and spirit. It's the acknowledgement of yourself as part of all, being all. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Namah Shivaya. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Namah Shivaya. Shivaya, 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 Shivaya. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Namah Shivaya. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Namah Shivaya. Shivaya, 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 Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Namah 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 Shivaya. Shivaya, 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 Shivaya.
That was beautiful. Thank you very much. My grandson was laughing and smiling with me while I was dancing in the room.
Perfect. It's just good to raise energy. All right. I'm going to channel now. I feel my joy of Theos coming through. So for those who don't know, I channel my higher self. They are called Theos, which is basically, and as my understanding of who they are and how they relate to me. And just so you know, I have no glasses on, so I will not be able to read anything. So don't type anything to me because I cannot see it. But my understanding of who they are has changed since I started channeling way back when I started channeling. And I understand now that Theos is not their name. They don't walk around like, hey, I'm Theos. Theos means knowledge of God, and they are my knowledge of God. They are that which I tap into that brings in my understanding of who I am in relationship to everything. They are my higher self. And so I am not always in alignment with my higher self, just like every human being. I still, have my moments that are maybe less informed as a spiritual being than that I would want them to be, but they're my access to my knowing. And they do have personality. They are, in my mind, now this is how I perceive them. I perceive them as three. I visualize them as three, though I'm very clear from them that they do not have bodies. So even though I see them, it's silhouette-y, it's not flesh. I get questions like, have they incarnated? Well, the answer is yes, they have, but not as them. I am their projection into this world. I am the higher self's projection into this world, as everyone is their higher self's projection into this world. So they are me, but they have also had other me's, obviously. Not me, Karen, but me as other projections. So have they been incarnated? Many, many times, but through different personalities. So that's how I know them. That's who they are. Everyone, I am informed, has their own Theos, their own knowledge of God, though you might not call it that. You might call it something else. You might be channeling a more personality-oriented being, like Taliwa channels Eric, and she channels, what's his name? That guy.
Robin Williams.
Thank you. So she's telling Robin, who is a very distinct personality, but Theos has not been walking the planet, but has had many projections walking the planet. So they do know of which they speak. So, but they do look at everything from the highest perspective. They look at it because they do have the bird's eye view. They see things in their completeness. And so that's who they are. And yeah, so I'm going to channel, and any questions that anyone has, also to the guys in YouTube. Susan's going to be watching YouTube, so please, you can type your questions in there. If you want to come in to the room, let me drop the link in there real quick before I go in, because I won't be able to do it. If you want to come in the room, you're perfectly welcome. Where's the link? Okay. Invite. Copy invitation. Oh, yeah. So Susan will let you in the room. If you want to come in, you're perfectly, absolutely welcome. Is that CW Chanter? Shush. Is he there? Oh, hi, CW. How are you? Okay. You're welcome to come in the room if you want. You're absolutely welcome. All right. Everyone in the YouTube is welcome to come in if you want. Just come in, mute yourself, please, if you do. So I'm going to put the spotlight on me for a moment. Let's see. There. Okay. Okay, great. All right. So here we go. Any questions you may have? Big, little, small? We are Theos, and we are so very pleased to be here with you today in this now, this beautiful moment. And we want to send each and every one of you rays of love, rays of light, touching your heart, your chakra, stimulating the memory of who you are, knowing your true divine nature, because that is the only truly the reason that we're here, is to remember ourselves and then to walk in this planet with that knowledge and help others remember. We're here to experience for the sake of experience, but we would like to raise it up a level and say we are here to experience with the knowledge of who we are, so that we can bring all of our brothers and sisters into that knowledge. We're not telling you that it's your job to save the planet. You cannot do that. You can only save yourself, but in saving yourself, you in turn save the planet and your brothers and sisters. So we are going to keep that very short, and we're happy to take any questions that you may have this morning. And then once again, we're very happy to be here with you, and so much love to each and every one of you.
Thank you, Theos, for being here today. The first question is from Wendy. Go ahead, Wendy.
Thank you very much. So I had a dream about blackbirds and was told that it was a potential path on my spiritual road. And so I'm wondering if I can have more insight about that and what you see as directions moving forward for this growth and expansion to others and the community.
Well, what we will say to you about that is that blackbirds symbolically can be omens. Karen has very different experience with blackbirds. She made friends with her blackbirds in her neighborhood, and they're very smart. They're very knowledgeable. They have very long memories. They are very clever. They have community, and they also can be predatory as well. So they have a lot of different things going on. In other genres, or other mythologies, they are seen as dark omens. You don't want to hear a blackbird calling your name. We prefer to go with the more positive aspect. So tell us what these birds were doing, and we will give you another perspective on this.
It was a large flock of them. It's almost like they all took off into the sky at the same time and filled up half the sky, but they were small dots off in the distance. And I actually saw a similar vision, but they were pigeons. Or seagulls rather, not pigeons. And when I saw them up in the sky, they all took off all at once off the beach, and off they went into the air. And when I saw them, I was like, oh, that looks like the birds that I just saw in my dream. But I thought, well, those aren't blackbirds. But I thought that they were blackbirds from the dream. That was my intuition.
When you saw them in your dream, not in their waking, but when you saw them in the dream, what were you feeling in the moment? Were you feeling happy, sad, neutral? Where were you, and what were you experiencing?
I was neutral and probably just amazement. Just like, oh, wow, that's really pretty.
And when you saw them in real life, not that they were the same bird, but did you feel the same amazement, or were you amazed at the fact that you had the premonition?
I think I was amazed at the premonition. Like, oh, that's what I saw. It felt like.
So just know, and there's two things that we will give you on this. Just know that the blackbirds symbolize all of the things that we just spoke about, but they also, they informed you of your ability to have premonition. But be aware that premonition does not always exactly mimic what we experience in real life. And this is just a small thing. It's a small thing. It's we would say, not a huge happening. There was no danger. There wasn't a premonition of bad things to come, or a happening other than the birds themselves. We would say in this case, a bird is a bird, and the birds both played a part, and happened to be pigeons were in your neighborhood. So they're the ones that did the same thing. But it's more to pay attention now, very specifically to your dreams, because the information is there. And often in our dream time, and also in our meditation, we get information symbolically. And the symbols sometimes just mean what they are. A bird is a bird. We would say they're exchangeable, but blackbirds have, on a spiritual level, they have a very large role to play. There's a lot of belief attached to blackbirds. The blackbirds have symbology. Pigeons, not so much. There's not a lot of symbology that comes with pigeons, but again, the pigeons were near you. There's maybe not a lot of blackbirds in your particular place that you are. So the pigeons stepped up into the role. But we believe what we're saying is that the whole meaning of this entire experience was to get you to notice that you did have a premonition and to start trusting it and to start looking for that to happen. So
I see.
Because as you start to trust it, the messages will get more in depth. We would say to you, if you had totally not noticed it or dismissed it or said, well, that's just dumb, then the universe would say, well, we're not going to bother with her. So the more you notice, it's like the muscle. Once you start to work it, once you start to notice the synchronicities, the messages, they come through bigger and bigger and bigger. But this is just sort of like a breadcrumb for you to start to notice and start to pay attention. I saw that exact thing just in my dream.
Yes, exactly. And they were seagulls. I said pigeons because that's what the bird popped into my mind, but they were actually seagulls. But they were white seagulls, but they did look black in the sky. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that is totally a match. So yeah, thank you so much for pointing that out.
And we would encourage you to keep a dream journal. And especially, not every dream that you have is some window into intuition. Sometimes it's just your subconscious working out issues, and it's the time that you get to yell at the person that you couldn't yell at before, or to work through anything that you have. But some dreams are more experiences or informational transferences of things to look for. And as you've been sort of given this, like, okay, is she going to pay attention? Just expect that will expand and expand and expand, and just set the intention before you sleep. Any messages that are necessary for me, anything that I need to be made aware of, bring it to me in my dream, allow me to have the recall of it, and please explain to me what it means. It's a lot. It's we get a lot of stuff when we are in, like you didn't know why. You didn't know what's this about. So start asking the question, please, not only give me the message, but send one of my guides to pull me aside and say, this is what this means, so that you have an understanding. Because the birds were just a little signpost for you. But if you're getting a lot of symbology, and the reason that you get symbology is because there's a lot of meaning attached. It's not just the symbol, but it's everything that goes with it. So ask to also have the interpretation come to you as well. Whether it comes to you that moment in the dream or when you wake up, you can think about it, meditate on it, and then you get the information. But ask to have also the information on what it means, so that you're not just wondering, going birds around for yourself. But and the other thing is just to be appreciative. Anytime we get any information, just from your heart space, send your appreciation to the awareness. If you have said, and Karen is saying this to us now, that you work sometimes with cards. Well, cards are full of symbols, and the different symbols will jump out at you at different times. And it's just, as every time your brain makes a connection to a meaning, it can expand on the meaning, it can start meaning more and more. But every time you make that connection, just be appreciative, to thank you for, allowing me to understand this more in depth. Thank you, for universe, for taking the time to share this information with me. You must need to know, or they wouldn't bother, really, right? There's a part of you that needs to know these things. There's a part of you that needs to be able to use them and to be able to integrate them in some way, in some form in your life, or you wouldn't be getting it. In the way of, does it mean something? Absolutely. It does mean something, or it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. So the why, though, sometimes can be very different. It might, again, be a subconscious dream, or it could be something that's really significant, especially about informing a future. But we would also say that most of the messages that you will get, at least in the beginning, are going to be quite personal for you. I need to know this for something for me. And then they can expand into communities need to know, the world needs to know, that kind of thing. So congratulations.
Ah, beautiful. Yes, that's absolutely beautiful. And I actually have since a child have gotten precognitive dreams. So, and I've seen them come true. So I am aware of them. And so when I saw that, it felt like, oh, here we go again.
It's like opening a tap, you know, first it drips, and then it starts to flow. So this is the drip, and say hello to the beautiful child we're hearing.
Oh, yeah, I certainly will. Thank you. And thank you so much for your beautiful message. Off to the next one now. Blessings to you.
Okay, Ryan is the next one with the question. Go ahead, Ryan.
Greetings, how are you?
We are.
Thank you. I'm not sure if you're familiar with my situation at all, but I've been working with Jim since the fall, and he's been working with me and bringing in God and a seraphim angels to help me with the beings in my consciousness. And I just wanted to get your take on it and see when you think they're able to go on, these beings are going to leave, because everyone's saying they're getting weakened and they're going to leave soon and in months. But to me, I see things differently. They're taking more control, it seems like, and getting more aggressive. And it doesn't seem like they're intent on leaving anytime soon. It seems like they really want to take me as a vessel, as you can say. And it's just getting very, I've been struggling a lot with this. And I want to get your take on what you see of when these beings will finally leave so I can get peace back into my life.
Well, for us, time is a very slippery slope in terms of when. Even Karen psychically struggles with exact timing because it's not always clear in the interpretation. What we would say to you is that, and we will say this to you very gently, that we would propose that you explore all avenues in this healing. What we feel within you is that not only is this on a psychic level happening to you, but it is affecting you in your mind as well. And we would encourage you to make sure that you are able to stay mentally balanced in your physical self, so that whatever work you're doing on the psychic level, you're able to integrate it. And because things are happening with you, you know, we are mind, body, spirit. It's not just one or the other. And we would encourage you, and we feel resistance, and that is why we are hesitating in the way we're saying what we're saying. But work on it spiritually with someone spiritual. Work on it medically with someone medical. That is the advice we would give you. And because you know,
the only person I work with it on is Jim and God and this earth, and because they're the only beings more powerful than these Anunnaki.
we would encourage you to explore the other part, because what we know is it takes a toll physically.
It does. It does take it up physically. I do take I do take care of my mental self, because it does take care. It does affect me mentally. I do take care of that. I am on things for that to help me boost my mental awareness and mood. But it's still challenging, and you know, I just wanted to get your take on it and your opinion.
Well, what we would say is just as long as you're doing both, we would just say approach all of the parts of the equation, not just mind,
right,
not spirit, but also body. And to really don't, you know, all of this exists. Doctors exist, food exists, you know, spiritual guidance exists, and we would not eliminate anything. We would take a holistic approach to the entire situation, because if you're physically worn down, then you're more susceptible.
Yeah.
If you're mentally worn down, you're definitely susceptible. And spiritually, you know, those things all feed together. So this is not, we are not a medical doctor. We don't have any kind of ability to prescribe legally, and we would say we will not do that, but we would say the things that you can control are what you eat, what you bring into yourself, what you bring into yourself through your eyes, as well as through your ears, and also through your mouth. Those are the things you can control. Make sure that you're listening to uplifting things that feed you on a beautiful way. We would say to you, make sure that the things that you're looking at also feed you in a beautiful way. We were not saying hide in the bushes, be afraid of anything, but we would say to you, spend more time looking at the things that are giving you joy than are giving you fear, or they're giving you pain or sadness. And
I
also,
do all that and above. I meditate, pray, do breath work. I go into nature. I do a lot of prayers. Everything to increase my vibration. I am way ahead of you on that one.
so it's the medical side that you're not really embracing.
Well, that's because they're causing the medical problems. They're causing me to have health issues. It's not my doing. It's their doing, which causes me to have medical problems.
Understood, but you still have a medical problem. And
Yeah.
that can be solved by a medical person.
It's not resolved by a medical person. It's caused by them. If they leave my consciousness, then I will be perfectly healthy again. A medical doctor cannot assist. It's not something they can assist with.
I had this conversation with you before.
Mm.
And we came to the same conclusion, and we're sharing it with you now. That is really all we can offer, that you need a holistic approach. And we would say to you, the resistance that you have to that.
I don't have resistance whatsoever.
Okay. The resistance that you're expressing to it, yes, the resistance that is being expressed is this belief that one thing can only be solved by one thing. And we would say to you, a holistic approach.
No, I've tried many different things. I've been working with Jim for a long time. I have another appointment with him on Tuesday, and I'll speak to God then, and hopefully he'll bring in some more clarity. But then because you're not really bringing in much clarity, and that's okay. But thanks for the information.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
We had the same conversation before with the same conclusion. So we would say in the future, maybe it's not for us to address this. So we send you so much love. Our opinion
Thank you.
is holistic.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, the Maveth has a question in the chat, and feel free to come on if you wish, but I'll state your question. Is there a way for someone to successfully communicate with the living telepathically and ensure they remember the interaction?
Well, yes, but it requires work on both people's part, and both people have to be attuned on a very high level for that to happen. And so other than it being a nice party trick that you can do, we would ask you, is it really necessary? We're not saying it's not possible. We would say that in order to make it possible, there's a lot of work. So you either have to find someone who is already there, or you have to make an agreement with somebody that both of you are going to work to get to that level. And that requires just a lot of practice, really, going into deep meditation, having a very clear channel, and then practicing sending messages back and forth. There may be some humans walking around that are already attuned to that, but we would say if that's the case, you may or may not have found them or encountered them. But at this moment, when humanity evolves more, it will be possible. As your computers evolve more, as your technology evolves more, it is already a little bit possible, through eye movement, through monitoring brain waves, these things, as those become more precise, that will be the case. On a mass scale, we would say it won't be available to everyone until technology takes over. And on an individual scale, it would be done through, again, deep meditation. It's possible. It's not going to happen just by chance. And the idea that you make sure that they remember is a little bit what we question, the you making sure. So are you sending a thought to someone that is not wanting to receive it? That's the question. So you can't be just like beaming thoughts at people. We have a natural sort of resistance to interference. We have a little bit of a wall. that we have already naturally. It's up to the person if they want to sort of lower their shields or take them up. But it could be a very fun thing to experiment with. But humanity is not at the place where they are walking around emitting thought transmissions to each other just yet. It'll come through technology much more quickly than it'll come. And then it'll be available to everyone, you know, but on a personal level, when we've got some time yet before we fully transition into a higher way of being. You know, there's some children that are around now that are quite evolved on different things, but it's not everyone at this point. It's possible, not probable in that way, without a great effort. And we would say there's monks, of course, there's always a monk in some cave somewhere that can do everything, but this is a monk that has dedicated their entire life, their entire dedication of their world. And these telepathy gifts, whether it's, you know, a little levitation or whether it's setting a fire with your chi, you know, these are not the goals. And that's what we'd like to emphasize, is that these are what are called in Hinduism as siddhis. Siddhi is Siddhi, and it is a gift. It's a spiritual gift. But these siddhis are not the goal. They are the result of deep sadhana, deep spiritual practice and meditation, and they just happen. But you do not do the deep meditation and the deep sadhana to get the siddhi. The siddhi is a gift. It's a reward for the deep meditation, but they cannot be the goal, because then it's an ego kind of construct. And we know that might rile the feathers of a lot of people, like, no, I want these things. It's okay to want them, but we will say that there's a fail-safe built into spirituality. And we've talked about this before, especially like for the people who are into magic. There is a fail-safe built. Even in black magic, which is purely ego-driven, it is the exerting of will, you know, that there's a fail-safe. Every scripture, including those of the black magicians, the first premise is that you have to get into a state of knowing yourself. Now that's the fail-safe, because when you know yourself, you know you're divine and you desire nothing. So it kind of shuts down all of these ego-driven desires. And again, you might go into meditation with a very pure heart, and then boom, you have telepathy, but we will tell you it would be very hard to just find telepathy. That's why, at least in the human form as we are right now, in this physical body, in this dimension where we are. And another dimension, okay, totally different rules, but we're not there yet. And that's the point. So if you want to jump in your spirituality to that level, we will say, fine, but then who are you going to send your telepathy to, unless you can find someone to jump with you? But it'll be very difficult. So just realize the goal is to know yourself. You might acquire some powers along the way, but you may or may not even want to use them. They're just things that you have. You know, they're just something that comes along with it. And then if it comes along with it, and then you encounter other beings that are sort of on that level, then you'll be able to share those things. But it really can't be the goal. Having it be the goal almost keeps it from you. Take a deep breath, everyone, so that you can digest that. But that's really how it goes. Or else we would see a lot of people moving things with their mind. We would see a lot of people who do magic, creating a world that they want, you know. And we don't see that, because the real goal of any kind of work is to know yourself. And even with those that are doing the black magic, that are doing the meditation, that are doing the tantra, when they do hit on their true divine nature, they completely fall in love. They completely fall into light. And all of those ego desires go. That's the fail-safe. That's why I don't this is Karen talking, I don't fear anything when it comes to magic or dark energy. It doesn't have really any true power. I hope that answers your question.
All right, thank you. I'm the next one with the question. Everything you've said, yeah, is kind of resonating with some of my own experiences where I've become more aware that if I, let's say, watch too much TV, which I'm trying to get away from, but I've noticed recently I was watching more TV. I really recognized that it brought my consciousness level down because I was consuming that material that's on the surface might seem positive, programming, but it's still programming. And then I felt a sense of being addicted to it or wanting to watch more and more. And so I'm becoming more self-aware of how that affects my own consciousness level. So I've kind of gotten away from that and trying to just, monitor my thought processes as well, even affecting my health too. I'm trying to get my health more in balance. And even the self-talk as far as stating that, I'm vibrantly healthy in every cell of my being, and, stating that you are in a healthy state as opposed to focusing on not being healthy or state, like your own self-talk about not being healthy. I've caught myself doing that, and I'm working to self-correct. But anyways, to get to my question, lately I've been, extremely exhausted. I know there's a lot of upgrades and things going on, but like last night I slept for 9 hours. It was hard to even wake up, but I feel like maybe I was being worked on physically because I did ask the Eliyaha to come in and assist to bring my health back into balance, sort of thing. And so I'm just wondering if you have any insights about that or anything I can help move things back into balance, I guess. And also with my spiritually based business, I feel kind of like in a somewhat stagnant point, but the message that I'm getting is that that's okay, that I'm more releasing or integrating right now, things like that. So anything you can, tell me about health related or my spiritual work would be great.
Well, we were just going to say to you that you are in a period of integration. So you took the words from our mouths, or maybe we shared the same words, but that's exactly what we were about to say, that there's a time period of integration that's very important. And when you go through a phase of learning, or experiencing, you have to take it within yourself and really ground it in there so it stays put. Karen is perfect at retaining information very quickly. She can learn very quickly. When she needed to in school, she could absorb an entire semester's worth of information the day before her test, and then 2 days later have no idea what was said, what it was about. But she could consume so much, but she didn't have the chance to really integrate and learn in some of her classes. And she really knows this about herself. And so she has had to, be a better student in many parts of her life, and not just be able to sort of take it all in and then walk away from it completely. You have to, especially on your spiritual path, allow things to seep in. It's like pouring water on a carpet. If you clean it up very quickly, it's gone. But if you let it sit there, well, this is probably not the best analogy, but it will seep in and it will get down into the, you've got the carpet, like a plush carpet, and it gets really down into and saturates the entire area. And that's what you really want. You want to be saturated, so much so that what you're taking in is not easily wiped away. You want it to become part of you. You want to integrate it. And there's that beautiful alchemy that happens when we take in information, we integrate it, and then on some of the beautiful magic is that it comes back out of you with your own unique spin on it so that it's usable by you. And that's what needs to happen. So the other part of that is you can't be in a rush for that. You need to allow And that's also part of the growth, is the allowing. It's just not taking in the information. It's the allowing of the integration. It's a very much a part of it. Karen comes from the bodybuilding world, and bodybuilders had a training phase where they would bulk up, and then they would have, they would go to their contests to do their thing. They would also diet down, whatever they had that period, but they also had what's called an off season. And that was the rest time, so that their body could heal, so that there could be a lot of repair, so their chemical receptors could go back into their balance, so that they would be again open to receive a lot of new proteins, but also all of the things that are necessary to build muscle and to grow. If the goal is to put on 10 pounds of muscle a year, which was not for Karen, but for a male bodybuilder, was generally the goal, you have to allow that. And you don't think in terms of, okay, I've done the training, now I should be okay. They always thought in terms of training, dieting, off. And it was a cycle, just like planting a crop. You till the field, you let it rest. You go in, you till the field again, you plant the seed, you let it grow, you harvest it. It's all part of the process. You can't just keep planting and planting and planting. The soil becomes exhausted. And then it gets to the point that it's so depleted, it can't take on anything anymore. And then, you're forced to rest. We're not saying that will happen, but what we're saying is that rest period, that integration period, is as important as the learning phase. So again, talking about whole things, think about the whole cycle, the whole experience, so that you're able to really take in what you need and what you're supposed to experience. And we would also caution you so much, it's not a danger, but we would caution you for your own happiness to not measure constantly. Where am I? Am I better? Am I worse? Am I growing? Am I not growing? Of course you're growing. You're doing the work. So trust that. Trust that you're growing. Trust that and if the thing with your spiritual business, at this moment, you need to, on a business level, as opposed to just on the spiritual level, evaluate where you really are. Are you doing all the things that you need to do in order to create interest in what you're doing? Do you need to learn something more? Okay. But you have to have two sides to you when it comes to your spiritual business. You have to have the part of you that's sort of marketing and promotion for yourself, keeping up your website, making sure you have your Facebook groups, that you're putting out all these things, however you choose to market. We're not prescribing anything. And then the part of you that actually does the work. And you need to find the balance between the two of them. And you will find, probably, especially in the beginning, you'll be doing more of the business stuff than the actual work itself. But that's all laying the foundation so that what you're doing is fully integrated. And these days, someone who comes to you for, say, a reading or a healing, they will do everything on your website. They will see when you're available. They will see what it costs. They will make their appointment. And you just have to then show up. But all that preparatory work of getting that all ready is definitely something very important. And we know that Karen had spoken with you about, sometimes it's good to have an assistant at some point that can do those things, so you really can get around to the business of just doing the readings and things like that. But we feel that you're just in that phase of trying to find the balance between the two of them. But everything is right on schedule. It's just being aware that if it's not working, figure out why, right? What do you need to do more of? And you might have to experiment. Do I need to spend more time on Instagram? Do I need to spend more time on YouTube? Do I need to spend more time on Facebook? Whatever that is, and then change it. And it's not blanket for everyone. You might find that your people are strictly Instagram, or they're strictly Snapchat, or they're strictly whatever the other one is, the one where they all dance, the one that starts with the
TikTok.
Yeah. You might find that your people are there. Fine. But you have to figure that out. And that takes the big T, time, right? It takes the time. And you have to find out if your people are going to be viral, if they're going to tell all their friends and they call you, or Do you have to go out there and do the work and put out the information? That's all for you in this sort of experimental time. But that's really business stuff. That's all 3D business stuff. And then the spiritual stuff, the one thing that you do is you will stay as centered as you can, continue to communicate to the universe. Please bring me the opportunities, the inspirations, and all that I need, so that when I see what needs to happen, it lights up for me and I go right to it, and I don't waste a lot of time doing things that are not necessary. However, we will say, even if you find something that's not working, it's good for you to know, because then you can say, well, that's not worth my time, or I'm going to spend 70% of my time here and 5% of my time there. Not abandon it completely, but not give it too much attention, and then spend your other time there. So those are things to balance, and we wouldn't be discouraged at all, especially because you're right in the beginning. You know, in the beginning, it's all about testing and trying and innovating and doing things. And as far as your artwork, we would say to you that as an artist, whether you're a writer or you're a musician or a dancer, you need to spend time creating, and not just waiting to do it at a certain time in the future, but you should be drawing, you should be creating every day for a certain period of time, if possible, or every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, whatever it is, but that you have the consistency, because again, creativity is also a muscle a lot of the time. And if you're conditioned to know that art time is from 2 to 4 on Tuesday, every day, whatever those days are, when you show up, your creativity will flow then. And that is just part of creating a container for yourself, so that you know what you're doing. It's what we see with a lot of people is that they want to do something, but they don't know where to start. So they don't put any kind of agenda out there. They don't even try to schedule themselves time to do things. Just like you wake up in the morning, you take time to brush your teeth, you take time to shower and to maybe straighten up your room, whatever you do, and then you eat your breakfast. Those times are pretty consistent. You probably eat breakfast the same time almost every day. You probably go to bed consistently. If you don't, you need to create routine, so that whatever the time to sit and think about and to work on your business is from this time to this time every single day, or every couple days, whatever it is, it's up to you. But so that you are giving yourself parameters within to work. These are very practical things, but these are the things that make people successful. Most of the people that are very successful are very, very disciplined in all parts of their life. They make their bed every day. They go to the gym every day. These are not those things exactly, but they have routine and they have consistency, because consistency is what wins out. Consistency is what builds, and we've talked about this before. We talked about this in the last channeling that we did, which builds the samskara. Samskara is a groove. It's the same thing of walking on a path. You walk on a path and it's barely there. There's a lot of leaves, there's probably grass, but as you walk on the path, it becomes more and more and more and more defined, so defined that you know exactly what to do. You know exactly what to do. You know that from 2 to 4, you sit down, it's time to create, and then you create. And it helps to dissipate procrastination. You know, in the beginning, you might find it hard to do it, but you do it. You just do it. And it becomes automatic. 2 o'clock, you start having ideas, you start getting an itch, you start going for your papers or however you're creating. You know, there might be a time of meditation where you're sitting down, you're brainstorming, and you're looking, but consistency. So we would say to yourself, give yourself the gift of discipline in these certain areas and throughout the rest of your life, and it will make things flow a lot more clearly. And then the last thing we would say to you is, don't be afraid to consult outside of, say, a psychic consult, but to consult someone who is a business person, if that's where you're finding that you are lacking. to get some ideas, to sit and brainstorm with someone. Am I doing these things in the right way? What should I be doing? What should I be doing more of? Those are the things you bring in help. You can't be an expert in everything. You're not expected to be. People who are highly creative are a lot of times less disciplined than, as far as being able to put things in a row, than someone who is, because they like things that are all kinds of everywhere. Creatively, they see it, oh, that's prettier when it's like this, but sometimes regimentated use of time is a very important thing. So don't be afraid to ask for that kind of assistance from someone who's really grounded in bookkeeping, who understands the web, who understands marketing. These are things that are important and they're essential for your business. And then as you are doing these things, because nothing is not spiritual, you know, you're thinking, well, I want to do a spiritual basis. It is on a level spiritual because you're a spiritual being. So employing the talents of someone else that can help you is also part of your spiritual journey. It doesn't make you less. It makes you more clever. It makes you more complete. It makes you more successful in the end. You know, if you see someone, for instance, like a Bashar or a Esther Hicks or a big channeler, they're not doing it themselves 100%. You know, they have a team, they have a marketing team, they have a social media team. We're not saying you have to go out and hire all these people in the beginning, but in degrees, you do need sometimes some extra assistance. So don't try to do it all by yourself 100%. But in the beginning, figure out what you need and then take steps to get it. That's what we would tell you about that.
Thank you very much. I mean, that definitely resonates with me. And I mean, I am very successful and disciplined as far as my day job, which has been busier than normal lately. So it's kind of finding, like you said, finding the balance between like my 3D work or even housework or other things that pull my attention. And yeah, scheduling out that time for creativity, for meditation, for things, you know, more on a spiritual level, as well as, yes, working on my business. And I am kind of in a learning phase with taking an online animal communication practitioner course to get certified for that. And yeah, so I am absorbing, trying to absorb all the things that I'm learning right now. So everything you said totally resonates. And yeah, it's just kind of finding this balance of, yeah, setting aside time for all these different things in my life, you know, and making sure I'm giving the appropriate attention to whatever I need to give attention to. So
100% of your attention outside of your work to whatever you're training on. So you can really,
yeah.
And then the other things can wait. You can't give 100% of your attention to everything, or you would never sleep, and then you would be useless.
Exactly.
So don't be in a hurry. We go back to our beginning statement, and to realize that all of this cumulatively will get you where you want to go. You know, there's a thing with people spiritually where they think that, okay, I'm spiritual now, quote unquote, everything should just work out for me. But it will eventually, but there's a lot of life to live sometimes between that and what you're doing. You have to build the foundation first, or else it'll fall apart. So take the time, know as long as you're on your journey, you're doing great. As long as you are taking care of yourself, you know, self-care is very important. It's a very important thing. If you need to sleep, you need to sleep. You know, your body doesn't lie. It needs to sleep. So take those things and just, we would say in the most basic way, just relax and know that you're okay. It's okay. You're pursuing the things that you're passionate about. Animal communication, that's an exciting thing to discover. Really focus on it. Put all of your focus on that. I am going to learn this. I am going to integrate this. I'm going to come out, I'm going to be Dr. Doolittle when I get out of this thing. You know,
Yeah.
Make that a priority. That's a very special area to work at, and make that your focus for now. And the rest of the stuff will still be there. It'll still be there. And you want to come in fullness to whatever it is you're approaching. You want to come with your full self, your full focus. So whatever you're doing now, make that your full focus. You don't need to say, okay, I'm going to do that, but I got to go over here. No, say, you know what? Make a list. You know what you need to do. Okay, fine. But right now, I'm going to talk to the animals, you know, and maybe you can get together with Madwali and you can you can have, that is a group that will understand.
Wonderful.
The communication. So if you want Metwali to have telepathic communication with someone who will know and get and remember what you've said, talk to some animals because they will know and get what you've said.
Yeah, I have had some experiences, and I have been starting to do just like free readings with people I know, where I've connected with their pets and things like that. So it is coming online for me, and I've always kind of had this connection with animals. It's just learning how to, you know, clarify that connection, I guess, and to more clearly, yeah, connect and I guess it's like a telepathic connection. But yeah, I was going to mention that I've had some telepathic experiences in the last few years with people I'm close to, like Wendy in this group. Her and I, we often are like thinking the same thing, and then we'll both mention it within a few minutes of each other or something like that. And it's like, I was just thinking that. So, but it's been spontaneous, and it, you know, and it's mainly with people I am close to energetically. It just happens. It's not something I'm trying to do, you know.
The thing about telepathy now is it is sort of spontaneous. You can send a message maybe back and forth, but most of the time you have to verbally confirm, you know, and there will come a moment where you telepathically communicate, you telepathically confirm. And we think that's more what Metwali is talking about, of really having this ability. And it is coming technologically, it will come. But in our current incarnations, it's quite an achievement, and it's not something that really is achievable at this moment for the majority of humanity. We would say it like that. We're not saying it's not. We're just saying very difficult.
Wonderful. I have one more question in the room. The Maveth asks, what is the best grounding technique and good way to replace released energy?
Well, the best grounding technique is to be in nature, really, is to go with your bare feet onto the ground or dirt or sand, and to stand, ideally even with your back to the tree or your feet in the water, like on the beach, but to take that moment of stillness and to just through your breath, breathing in the air and releasing out anything that is within you. And when we say releasing anything that is not beautiful love. And then once you've released all that, you can release your beautiful love into the planet. But there's a lot of times where people, you know, they say breathing in love, breathing out pain, breathing out unforgiveness, breathing out anger. You want to release all of that, which is that is not part of your divine nature. Anger, resentment, these things that are negative. There's a righteous anger, but that's not what we mean. You're angry at the guy who cut you off at the grocery store. You're angry at this, you're angry at your spouse, you're angry at your stupid neighbor or stupid channel who doesn't understand what you mean. You know, those are the things that need to be released, because those are the things that keep you stuck. And the most beautiful way to do that is to stand in nature and allow the energy to flow out through your feet, out through your breath, and you just disperse it. Nature has a phenomenal filtration system energetically. It's struggling with some of the pollution, but on an energetic level, it can definitely filter those things. And it really has to do with you letting go of whatever you're holding on to and just being in that moment exactly where you are, feet on the ground, in your awareness, and still. That's what grounds you. And again, allowing the breath to be the transmitter of what is coming out and what is coming in. So taking that moment, just like we did in the beginning, to breathe in gently, breathe out, and then resonating with oneness. And that's what Om really does. It is the Alpha and the Omega. It is the all. When you resonate with that isness, you become calm, you become steady, and you become grounded. And you do that through releasing. You do that by raising your joy through appreciation, taking a moment to appreciate the ground on which you're standing, to appreciate the legs that are holding you. If you're sitting, to appreciate your butt that's holding you. And you appreciate yourself for taking the moment to return to the awareness. And then you're still. That's simply the best way to do it. If you cannot get outside, imagine yourself outside. Send your consciousness outside. But take the moments to breathe. Take the moments to release. Take the moment to be still. And you can say something to yourself of, so hum, I am. You can say it in English, I am. You can say it in whatever language you speak. But you express from your knowing that you are. We were asked how we were. We said we are. We are. And so are you. And in that grounded space, stillness, you will be able to move forward throughout your day. But do that every day. Ground every day. If you start to feel like you're caught up in something, it's too busy, it's too loud, you're too overwhelmed by whatever it is, whether it's children screaming or your boss at work, just take a moment and ground yourself. So what happens when you are grounded and you're still, your perspective expands, your awareness expands, and you're able to see past what is going on around you. You're able to see things from a different perspective. You're able to see your boss, who in that moment is not grounded, treating you incorrectly, and understand that they are not grounded. Maybe they're having their own stuff. And you don't take it too much to your heart, where you think, oh, I'm a terrible person, or, oh, I hate my boss. You can maybe hear what they're saying, the core of it, and maybe you do need to do better, or maybe you do need to move faster, whatever it is, but you can hear it without being emotionally torn by it. The same thing with whatever's going on in your life. The ideal space to be in is always in a grounded space, seeing from a bigger perspective, because then you become really the observer. And that's what grounding helps you do. It helps you expand your awareness, and you can observe. And then if you are listening to the laughter of children and you just want to dive in and relish that and really expand it and laugh too, then you do that. But when you see things that are maybe icky, that are very stressy or very heavy, you can stand back and notice them and feel the empathy for that being or that situation, and you can send love to it, but you don't have to maybe dive into it. And that's the difference. Grounding is one of our greatest tools that we have to use. It's there, it's free. It's accessible for everyone. We would say, use it. Use it. Hope that answers the question.
Wonderful, thank you. Sailesh has a question. Go ahead, Sailesh.
Yes, hello, greetings, Theos. And yes, you are, and so I am. Beautiful. Okay. So what it is, I've been doing a lot of inner work, clearing away past traumas, and just want to know where I am energetically speaking on my path. And my path is to reach oneness.
Okay, well, if you were listening to what we said to our dear friend Susan, then we would say to you, don't measure where you are, because where you are is where you are. You know, there's no levels. But we would also say to you, with that's a very general statement, that if you're doing the work, you're on the right way. If you're doing the work, you're on the right way. And reaching oneness, oneness is not a destination. Oneness is who we all are. We are all one. We cannot be one. The only thing that is different is that we don't have the awareness. So we would say maybe switch it just a tiny bit to say, I'm not trying to achieve oneness. You can't achieve what you already are. You know, you already are that, so you can't achieve it. Not, and the same thing is you can't be what you're not. You can't suddenly be a bear unless you're a shapeshifter, which you are not, that we are aware of. So you are Selesh, you are one. We are Theos, we are one. Susan is one. We are all one. There's nothing outside the one. There can't be anything else. There's only single. There's only the singleness of all of it. So you can't achieve oneness. You can't become oneness. You are that. That is why we say we are, you are, I am. I am. I am. I, the divinity of all that is. Shiva, whoever you want to say, Krishna, whoever you want to say, God, we are that. The difference is we don't know that we're that. We don't know it. And there's a reason we don't know it. That's part of the illusion. That's part of why we're here, to find that. That's what we were saying in the very beginning of discovering your true divine nature. It's to peel back that tattva, that covering that keeps us from the awareness of who we are. So the goal is not to achieve oneness. The goal is to remember. So we would just switch it that little bit. We would say in your meditation, your prayer, your intention, allow me to find that key to the door, to open my awareness to that which I am. But we'll tell you that that really is going to happen in your meditation. That's where you can go deeper into it. That's where you can have your awareness expand to the awareness of it. You know, we were going to say touch it, but then that implies separation. There's no separation here. There's no separation. We would meditate on that. There is no separation, and what that really, truly, truly means. What does it really mean? What does oneness mean? What does it mean? It means one. You can't have oneness and then something else. There's nothing but that. I am that. I am that. And we can't even say to you, you are that really in this context, because you are also I am that. And the space of where that begins to happen is when you understand that there's no place that we start and you begin, and vice versa. And that's true of your connection to everything, whether in physical or non-physical, whether on a planet or in space or in the ether, it's all one. So we would invite you to meditate on oneness, not getting there, not achieving it, but knowing it. And we will tell you, your mind will open and slam shut on this concept a lot of times, because there's a little bit of a thing. When you know completely who you are, you cease to be who you are in the little you, the Celeste you, Karen you, Susan, Wendy, everyone that's here, you. Because you remember that you are everything. And then you poof. So in this life, in these incarnations, we're allowed to have a glimpse, but because we've agreed to be on this planet, to walk this planet, to be an incarnation, to have an experience, we tend to keep that information a little bit from us. But you can get really close. You can get very close. And what happens is when you understand that there's no place that we begin and you end, and vice versa. And that's true for you and your wife, you and your children, you and your neighbor. You expand into the depth of love and empathy. You don't want to see your neighbor suffering. You don't want to see the child on the street suffering, because it's you. And so when you find that in your meditation, that your heart starts to expand, the people you see, you only see them as extensions of yourself, that your understanding of even what they're doing is not what you would do. There's the part of you that maybe doesn't dive into their life, but there's a part of you that can send them blessing. Understand that they're just as lost as a lot of other people. And we want to explain that the oneness that we're talking about is not only related to people or angels or beings, it is related to everything, that with which on you sit right now, that microphone through which you talk right now, this internet system, your computer, your phone, you are one with all of that as well. Oneness means oneness. It's not just people. It's not just animals. It's everything. It's the molecules in the air. There is nothing outside of the one. All that is all that is. There is nothing outside of it. Nothing. You can't achieve that. You can only know it. And if you know it, you're really free. So what we would seek is freedom. What we seek is the freedom that comes, the peace that comes, that peace that passeth understanding. Down in my heart, it's a Bible phrase. That is what gives you the knowledge of who you are. So seek that in your meditation, your stillness. When you're perfectly aligned in your meditation, when you're really connected to yourself, you're perfectly at peace. There's really nothing to seek then. And as you connect to that more and more and more, you will start to understand. Yes?
Thank you. That's beautiful. I'll go ahead and let the person that just asked the question go ahead and wrap, but we're hitting that 11:30 mark. So just wanted to let Karen be aware of that. Also, her co-host has lost internet connection. So
Okay, so we're hitting the 12:30 mark?
we are at, 12:30 your time, 11:30 my time.
So just to return to what we were saying, you're on the right path, Celeste. The fact that you're working so diligently, you're perfectly where you need to be. Don't doubt that. The fact that you have the love to go after that, the fact that you're willing to wade in the waters of trauma is very, very good. We would say releasing it is very important. Forgiveness is essential. forgiving yourself, forgiving anyone that you need to forgive, not because what they did was okay, but because you deserve to be free. You're going to leave that instance, that thing in the past. You're not going to carry it with you like a boulder throughout your life. You're going to set it down. You're going to say, it is there. I'm releasing it. I forgive you, because obviously, if you knew who you were, if you had awareness, you wouldn't have chosen that. So I'm going to forgive you for not knowing who you are. And I'm going to leave it there. And then you move on. And as you release and release and release, you'll find that there's nothing left other than just who you truly are. All those other things that cover you and make you forget, we all have them. You're not unique, but you can think of it as taking off your coat and then your jacket, and oh yes, there's a t-shirt under there, and more and more and more. But as you strip down to that which is core, you will get to the state where the only thing there is to do then is to really just stay centered. And as you go deeper and deeper and deeper with consistency, not necessarily hours of meditation, but just consistency of sitting in silence, sitting in presence, as you go into that more and more and more, it will expand and expand until your mind just blows open, until your heart blows open, and you just know who you really are and who everyone else is. And when you know that, then you're there. That's our answer on that. And we understand we are out of time, and we would ask, do you have another question or a comment before we go away here? Is he gone, Salesh?
Yes, I have nothing more for him right now. I thank you very much. So if you want to go ahead and bring Karen back, that would be beautiful. Thank you.
Someone needs to be let in the room. Just let me grab my glasses. Oh, Susan just came in. There she is. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So we lost Susan for a moment. Thank you, Susan, for hosting. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And we're cutting off a little early. Thank you for having Theos because they have a class coming in. So thank you. Next week, Jim will be here. So please tune in. And if you'd like to support Hucolo, go to hucolo.org. You can become a member and be in the room when Jim is channeling. And it's $10 a month, just a cup of coffee. So please help us keep the lights on and pay for our website and our internet stuff that we do, our Zoom room. So thank you so much, and much love to you, everyone. Thank you.
Much love.
Much love. I'm going to just go offline one moment.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. 1 second.
Thank you. Beautiful.